Welcome to the deep dive. Life throws some incredible curveballs, especially, it seems, when you're on a spiritual path. Today, we're looking at a really fascinating case study, an English teacher's journey. It starts with this powerful spiritual awakening, but then leads into some, well, truly baffling adversities. And you, our listener, you've given us some amazing source material here, really detailed accounts of her experiences, the highs, the lows, the spiritual insights, and importantly, the karmic explanations that came later.
Yeah, it's quite a story. And our mission today is really to unpack all of that. We want to look at the layers, karma, the human experience, spiritual practice, and try to understand not just what happened to her, but more importantly, why it happened, why it matters, and maybe what lessons we can all take away from such a complex and frankly quite challenging life story.
Absolutely. It's about understanding those cause and effect ripples across lifetimes, isn't it?
Exactly.
So we'll be exploring some maybe surprising ideas about karma, the power of our own minds, and some practical ways maybe to navigate these unseen challenges life throws at us. It's all designed to give you, our listener, a shortcut to being well-informed on these deep topics. So let's get into it. Okay, so our subject is a 44-year-old English teacher. Her spiritual journey started quite young, actually. She was only 19, first year of university. So that's around 1979, 1980 in the Buddhist era. And that's when she first encountered Dhammakaya meditation.
A really pivotal moment.
It seems so, because on that very first day, she listened to Dhamma teachings, she meditated, and boom, she felt, as she put it, very good. She saw inner light, felt her body and mind become light, and even described the sensation of coolness spreading from the center of her body like an air conditioner inside. Pretty immediate and profound.
It really is. And that kind of rapid, positive feedback isn't typical for everyone starting out. It strongly suggests, well, it suggests she had accumulated merit from the past and likely practiced meditation before in previous lives, perhaps. It's like she was just picking up where she left off. The groundwork was already there.
That makes sense. It explains the intensity. And her commitment just took off from there. She started visiting the temple all the time, helping with any merit-making activities she could. She even took on observing the 8 precepts daily, which is quite demanding, especially alongside university studies.
It shows real dedication.
Definitely. She felt, in her words, unspeakable happiness, and her dream was actually to live at the temple after graduating. But, opposition started brewing. Her parents began to object. They were worried she'd get lost, maybe become a nun. I suppose that's a fairly common parental fear in some contexts.
It can be, yes. But the sources add another layer here. Her mother was apparently also influenced by a spirit medium.
Oh, interesting.
Yes, and this medium warned that if the daughter kept meditating, she would go crazy. Now, we need to be clear. Real meditation fosters peace, joy, clarity. Things like alcohol are what lead to instability. So that warning, it was almost certainly a projection of the mother's own anxieties, maybe amplified by this medium, not, a factual prediction. It shows how fear can get tangled up with belief.
Right, fear getting weaponized almost. But despite the warnings, despite the threats, she kept going. Temple every Sunday during term, daily during holidays, commuting back and forth, meditating, helping with food offerings, personally giving them to respected figures like Grandma and Luangpur, meditating again, cleaning. She came home just filled with joy. This was her lifeblood.
Absolutely. Her dedication was clear.
But then things took a sharp, quite scary turn. Second year of university, she's meditating in the main hall, and suddenly she falls ill. No obvious reason. And the symptoms were just bizarre. Heart palpitations, intense fear, feeling lost inside like she was falling, numbness, a squeezing in her heart, trouble breathing sometimes. She just endured it through the session out of love for merit.
Wow, that sounds terrifying, just out of the blue like that.
Completely. And then after leaving the temple, crying, she gets home and has this incredibly vivid dream. She described a tall, dark figure with this authoritative and frightening voice commanding her to stop meditating. In the dream, this figure inflicted harm, like pins pricking her body, and it told her she could not go anywhere and had to help them first. A really direct, menacing message.
Okay, so this figure, this dream, it's crucial to understand what the sources suggest this was. Just like the medium's warning wasn't literal truth, this tall, dark figure wasn't a real entity, not a Withiathorn or some external spirit. It was what's called a kama nimit.
A common nimit.
Yes, a karmic manifestation. Essentially, a powerful vision generated by her own past negative actions, her own unwholesome karma. It's like her past deeds were creating this internal psychological pressure, this frightening image.
So it wasn't an external attack, but an internal manifestation of her past.
Exactly. It helps distinguish real spiritual phenomena from, well, the mind projecting its own karmic baggage.
So what was the specific past karma? The sources say that in a previous life, before she found this Buddhist path, she was a very devoted follower of a sorcerer, Wet. So devoted, she built a shrine for him and actually compelled her subordinates and others to worship there. She even forced Buddhists to abandon their faith for this sorcery.
That's significant. Actively promoting false beliefs and hindering others' genuine spiritual practice. That's the kind of intense negative karma that could absolutely create such powerful, disturbing visions and internal conflict.
It manifested physically, too. Her symptoms got so bad she couldn't study. Doctors, they found nothing wrong. And the dark figure kept appearing in dreams, threatening her, sometimes hurting her, demanding offerings for her recovery.
A relentless cycle.
Totally. Eventually, she just couldn't take it anymore, she told her mother. And her mother, probably feeling desperate, arranged the offerings the figure demanded: ducks, chickens, liquor, fruit. And incredibly, 3 days later, the symptoms vanished, completely gone.
Now, this recovery is fascinating. It wasn't magic in the offerings. It wasn't placating a real spirit. It was psychological. The act of making the offering, fulfilling that demand from the vision, brought her immense relief. It eased her stress, her anxiety, and because the symptoms were likely stress-induced or psychosomatic,
They disappeared.
exactly. The mind-body connection is incredibly powerful. The ritual provided comfort, changing her feeling, even if it didn't touch the underlying karma. The dark appearance, by the way, was just part of that whole karmic vision package.
That's a really key distinction. So, the consequence. Her mother, terrified of a relapse, warned her off meditation completely. Her father wasn't supportive either, and she, understandably frightened by all this unseen stuff, stopped going to the temple. Reluctantly, sending donations through friends, but she stopped her active practice. A real setback.
A heartbreaking pause, forced by fear and misunderstanding, really.
So time passes, life goes on, she finishes university, she gets married, but the marriage itself had a complication. She found out later her husband actually already had a family. He hadn't told her at first.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, his explanation was that his first wife only had daughters and apparently really wanted a son, which, was a significant thing in their culture then, and she willingly agreed to him taking a second wife. Our subject felt pity for the whole situation and agreed to the marriage.
And this, too, the sources connect to karma. Apparently, in a past life, she and this man were husband and wife and vowed to be together again. But her own past karma related to infidelity, karmic Cain, led to her being the second wife in this lifetime.
So past vows and past infidelity karma mixing together.
Precisely. And the acceptance from the first wife and family. That was linked to past merit from supporting relatives, and apparently the two wives had a connection, like sisters, in a past life as wives to the same man. It's incredibly intricate how these past threads weave together.
It really is. So a new chapter starts properly when she gives birth to a son, and after 4 years away from the temple, she finally returns, bringing her son along. She's back on the path.
That must have been a relief for her.
I imagine so. And her son turned out to be, well, quite remarkable. An excellent student, winning academic awards all through school, kindergarten to high school, and beautifully, he always donated his prize money to the temple. That brought her so much joy.
That's wonderful. And his academic success, his supportive nature that stems from his panyabarami, the perfection of wisdom cultivated over past lives. He consistently supported education, had a strong drive for learning across many lifetimes. You see that positive karma flowering now.
A virtuous cycle carrying forward. And her own commitment reignited. Visiting the temple the first Sunday of every month, making donations from her teacher's salary, pure earnings, never missing a chance to make merit. Her heart was clearly still there.
Despite everything she'd been through.
Yeah. Now, even with this renewed practice, those voices telling her to stop meditating, they still whispered occasionally. Less often, maybe because she'd kept making some offerings out of that residual fear.
That fear lingered.
It did. But then came another turning point. She joined something called the Dhammadun School, a deeper study program. And there she really started to understand concepts like Wet, sorcery, and Withiathorn. And this knowledge gave her strength. She made a decision, cold turkey, the sources say, stopped all the fear-based offerings immediately, and she threw herself back into intense practice.
That took courage, facing down that fear based on new understanding.
Absolutely. 5 hours of meditation a day, 8 precepts, 5 days a week for about 2 years straight. And the results were amazing. She started seeing crystal clear Dhammakaya Buddha images internally, a huge leap in her practice.
Reaching a profound level of inner clarity.
But during those 2 years of intense practice, the harassment returned. That tall, dark figure was back in her dreams, demanding offerings again. She refused, and he got more threatening, saying things like, "Think you're so smart," warning he'd destroy her entire house. The voice was powerful, terrifying, but she ignored him. She just kept practicing.
Showing incredible resolve this time.
Truly. But then, tragedy struck again. February 2005, her crystal Dhammakaya Buddha image, the one on her altar, suddenly fell and broke. She and her husband were both really shaken by that.
That would feel like a bad omen. But it's important the sources clarify this. That event, the broken image, it wasn't actually linked to what happened next with her husband. It was apparently just an accident caused unintentionally by her husband.
Okay, so a separate incident, though distressing. Because just 1 month later, March 2005, her husband suddenly became critically ill, an acute mitral valve tear. They tried CPR, but his heart had stopped for nearly 30 minutes. The result was brain death, a vegetative state. Doctors suggested removing life support, but the family couldn't bring themselves to do it.
Just devastating. And karmically speaking, his condition, this vegetative state, the sources link it directly to very severe past panatipad karma from killing or harming living beings. Specifically, acts like tying animals down, hitting their heads, forcing them to work hard, tying them up for sacrifice. Extremely heavy negative karma. And sadly, the prognosis was that recovery in this lifetime was highly unlikely, given the lack of consciousness.
It's hard to hear. It underscores the weight of those kinds of actions, doesn't it?
It truly does. The consequences can be profound and long-lasting.
So now she's facing this unimaginable situation. Husband incapacitated, raising her son alone, needing to earn more, also for merit-making. It forced her to teach more, which meant less time for meditation, less time for observing the 8 precepts, a really difficult balancing act, driven purely by necessity.
A heavy burden to carry.
And then, yet another blow. September 2008. One morning, this multicolored, shimmering light just shoots into her eyes, blurring her vision. She immediately did what she knew best, meditated, focused on the triple gem, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. And the light faded. She could teach. But that evening, she got severely ill with laryngitis. And it just stuck. It's persisted ever since.
Okay, let's clarify these two things. That shimmering light, not some kind of magical attack. The sources suggest it was simply tired eyes,
Right.
related to the illness that was developing, a physical symptom.
Ah, okay, not an external force.
No. And the persistent laryngitis, the throat issues that plague her now, that connects back to her own past karma of, again, slaughtering animals or having others slaughter animals for sacrifices, specifically for that sorcerer she followed. And crucially, this illness was not caused by her stopping the offerings to the spirit medium figure. Stopping those was a good thing. The illness is the ripening of that older, negative karma involving harming beings.
So the timing was coincidental, but the root cause was that specific past action.
Exactly. It helps separate cause and effect correctly.
And her struggles now are significant. Can't speak for long, depression, anxiety, insomnia, choking sensations. Closing her eyes brings back the dark figure, threatening to take her to the Withaya thorn. Meditation is incredibly hard. Eating is difficult. Constant throat pain. Doctors suspect a lump in her windpipe. It's this complex knot of physical suffering, psychological distress, and these persistent karmic echoes.
A really challenging convergence of factors.
So we've traced this path. Initial spiritual highs, the terrifying harassment, the tragic events with her husband, her own chronic illness. It's a lot. Let's really try to tie it all together now with the karmic explanations.
Yes, let's connect those dots. Because seeing the underlying karmic logic can actually be empowering, even amidst suffering. First, those threats about the Withaya thorn, the demands to help them, these aren't commands from real entities she needs to serve. They're manifestations, projections of her intense past karma from promoting sorcery and discouraging Buddhism, all mixed up with her current fear and anxiety.
So inner demons projected outward, essentially.
You could say that. Mental imprints surfacing powerfully. Then, her current health problems, the laryngitis, the general ill health, these stem directly from that severe karma of slaughtering animals or ordering it done for rituals back when she supported sorcery. Actions have consequences, and these are hers ripening.
And her husband's condition.
As we established, that's his own heavy panatipad karma from violently harming animals for sacrifice in his past, a direct result of his own actions.
And the marriage situation being the second wife.
That links back, as we discussed, to their past life vow and her own past infidelity karmic came. The family's acceptance related to their own past merit in relationships, See how interconnected it all is. Personal karma, relationship karma, past vows.
It's like an intricate web stretching across lifetimes. Wow, okay, so given this deep, complex karmic background, what is the way forward for her? What can she do?
The path forward, according to the sources, is clear, though it demands real effort. To counteract the harassment, the illness, all of it, she needs to focus on accumulating merit, all kinds of merit, abundantly, and crucially make a strong, clear aspiration, a powerful intention to be free from the specific karma. Merit is the cleansing agent. Consistent observance of the 8 precepts, whenever possible, will also gradually contribute to healing. There's no shortcut other than dedicated good deeds and strong resolve.
So it's about actively creating positive causes to overcome the effects of past negative ones.
Precisely. And for her husband. The merit she makes, especially from her meditation, like creating inner Buddha images, and from observing the precepts, this merit will help him, particularly after he passes away. It can ensure he transitions to a good realm. So she should absolutely keep dedicating merit to him. It's a powerful act of compassion that transcends his current physical state.
But that offers a way to help him even now. And what about their son? His future seems bright based on his past.
Yes, his academic success and good character come from his Panya Bharami, that perfection of wisdom from past lives, supporting education and learning. He has a strong foundation.
And it seems her merit extends even further. The sources mention her father, who died about 10 years ago from a lung tumor.
That's right. Apparently, due to his own traditional merit-making and her continuous dedication of merit to him, he was reborn as an Akartadeva,
An Akartadeva.
a type of celestial being residing in the atmospheric realm. The sources say he's very happy there and receives all the merit she sends him. It shows the tangible effect of dedicating merit.
That's quite comforting, actually. So looking at the bigger picture, for both her and her son.
There's significant potential. The sources identify them both as having been part of the supply line, consistent supporters for the monastic community over past lives. This means if they're truly earnest, diligent, and practice correctly now, they have a genuine opportunity to attain Dhamma, deep spiritual realization, even in this lifetime. The advice is to aspire high, to follow the path of the great bodhisattvas.
Wow. So despite all the immense suffering and challenges, the potential for liberation is still very much there.
Absolutely. The past creates the present, but present actions create the future.
What an incredible deep dive this has been. It just highlights how complex and far-reaching karma really is, doesn't it? Shaping our spiritual lives, yes, but also our health, our relationships, everything. These unseen forces are powerful.
They really are. And the core message, I think, is that every single action, good or bad, creates these ripples across time. But, and this is the crucial part, persistent good deeds, unwavering intention, understanding the process. These are incredibly potent tools. We saw how she faced down fear with understanding, how merit can offer healing and help loved ones. It shows that even when challenges seem overwhelming, we do have agency through our choices and actions right now.
That's a really empowering takeaway. So maybe a final thought for you, our listener, to reflect on. Considering how deeply past actions, thoughts, and intentions can shape our present reality, as we've seen today, what small, maybe, but consistent acts of merit or wisdom or simple kindness might you start cultivating today? Not just for your own brighter future, but maybe for those around you, perhaps even, as the story suggests, reaching beyond this single lifetime. Something to think about.